Hello and welcome to a slightly different WATCHPRO Originals video. Today is the first day that the UK retailers have been allowed to reopen, non-essential retailers. So I thought I'd take a trip into London and see how the shops are doing. I'm on the train station now. The trains are running, so that was good timing. I live about half an hour north of London in a small town, and as you can see, the station platform is pretty much deserted. So the video will probably be a bit rough, not particularly well edited together, but hopefully it'll give you a bird's eye view of what day one after this ruinous lockdown looks like. I'll just give you a quick look on the train. I should say this is 2 o'clock in the afternoon, a time when obviously the train would normally be pretty empty, but yeah, I can't see anybody in either direction, so I've got two carriages or more all to myself, but I'm still taking the mandatory advice of wearing the face covering. So, tube station pretty quiet. Okay, so the first store we had a look in, we just came out of Oxford Circus tube station and got to Amiga's shop. I'll just flip around so you can see. As you can see, no queues outside at this stage. And I did just pop into the store, and I can tell you that there was plenty of staff but no customers, I'm afraid to say. I'm not going to film inside shops because I think that's probably a little bit troublesome for security. I haven't asked any questions in advance, but it was all very safe. Security on the door, everybody wearing face masks or full screen visors. I was asked to put a mask on before I came in, and then to have a quick squirt of sanitizer. Yeah, and then no perspex screens between me and the staff. But thoroughly pleasant experience. So a quick view down Regent Street here. As you can see, there's a fair number of people about. Every time you go into a shop there's face masks, but generally on the street there's not. And here we are, this very shop I was looking for. We found ourselves right outside Breitling. Let's go and have a look inside. So I'm sat here in the Breitling store on Regent Street, and I'm sitting down for my first watch consultation, and I can tell you that we've already seen, I think this is a first for me. I'm actually holding a 2020 model in my hand, which is the new Breitling chronomat. Yeah, and I have to tell you that this tubular bracelet is better than it looked in the pictures. But the experience is good. You know, we've got a perspex screen for these consultations. But other than that, the store, I've been in here before when it first opened. It all looks pretty much the same. So yeah, a good experience. Feel safe, feel sound. Get yourself down here. So we weren't allowed to film inside the legendary 155 Regent Street, but it was very welcoming. There were a lot of staff. But I am delighted to report I have seen my first customers of the day. Sitting down, I think one was probably getting a consultation on a repair, it looked like to me. But wouldn't you know it, once you're in the Rolex room, there were 2 of the private booths being used by customers trying to get themselves a new watch. So good to see some signs of customers returning, but the process was all very straightforward. There were no screens above the watch display cabinets, but there were screens if you actually sit down and have a one-to-one consultation with people, which I think is the way most people are going. Next stop, Bond Street. Okay, so we're just on Bond Street. I'm not going to probably go into a huge amount of shops. I'm really just going to show you a look around how it looks, and I can tell you that on Bond Street that there is a queue outside Hermes. They'll be pleased with that. No queue outside Miu Miu. Show you those. The street itself is pretty quiet, has to be said. Just walking down, we've got Burberry, door wide open. It's good, but no queue. Chanel over to my right certainly seems popular. I mean, we're at about 3:30 in the afternoon here, so this wouldn't be on a Monday afternoon. This wouldn't be a time when the street would be packed with shoppers, unless they were tourists visiting. And of course, we've got precious few of those. Louis Vuitton got a small huddle outside. Okay, so we're down towards the lower end at New Bond Street now. I mean, the street's fairly quiet, but you'd expect that at mid-afternoon on a Monday. In the summer, though, you would be expecting to see a lot of tourists around, and that's what I'm not witnessing a lot of. But there's a small group of what look like tourists outside. Yves, Louis Vuitton. Hermes had a queue outside. I think Chanel has got a few people outside, so there's certainly activity going here. I'm just swinging across to Patek Philippe, which is actually closed, and there's a sign on the door saying that it's closed until further notice due to the coronavirus. There's no actual date there. And now I'm going to take you down the main drag of luxury jewellers and watch shops on New Bond Street. I'll just turn things around. Hublot de Gossenot, which we know is closed indefinitely, we think. Hublot is open with watches in the window here. I'm not going to go into all of the shops on Bond Street, but I'm seeing it looks fairly quiet inside. It's a two-story shop though, so there could be people upstairs. Chopard has watches in the window as well. Security in place. Spin over to the right. Bulgari again looks open. I can't see in too well. Blancpain. Open again. Reggae. Open again. So Swatch Group's tactic of remaining as open as possible throughout the pandemic seems to be paying off. Just almost getting run over by a police car there. Piaget is still closed. Harry Winston looks open. Van Cleef & Arpels definitely open. Cartier has optimistically got the red velvet ropes out for crowd control, but regrettably at the moment there's no crowds. Hopefully later, as people finish their day at the office. Boodles is open, and as we come down, I'll just show you Ralph Lauren, which is actually open but no queues outside. David Morris open, Tiffany open. Let's see if we've only found 3 customers so far all day. 2 of them were buying Rolexes, so let's see whether the actual Rolex store on Bond Street, which is actually run by the Watches of Switzerland group, is having any joy today. I'm going to stop filming because they probably won't want that inside. Okay, we'll just have a look at Old Bond Street now, and I'll show you just what we've got. Panerai, not yet open, and around up the street. I mean, it really is quiet, but I mean, Bond Street is usually pretty quiet. I mean, it's so expensive that it's really only the super rich who spend a great deal of time here, and office workers who are passing through. So it's not unusual for the footfall to be this low. IWC looks like it's closed for a refurb to me. Blacked out windows at the moment, certainly not open. As we carry on up, Wimpey is open. People looking in the window, good to see. Go in, sir, go buy a watch. And carry on up, we'll get to Breitling on the corner. Breitling store on Regent Street was open. Breitling store on Bond Street is open. Now I will just flick back this way because I happen to know this is the Audemars Piguet AP house. Doesn't have a street front, as we know. You have to go up the stairs. But we'll have a quick look, see if it's open at least. There's a sign there saying, "We'd like to inform you that we're doing social distancing in line with government guidelines. Thank you for your cooperation. Please make way to the top of the stairs." Oh, it is open, so I'll turn off. But well, to be fair, the door turned out to be locked to AP House, which is not entirely surprising. I think it probably is open, but probably appointment only, and I didn't call in advance and make an appointment. So this is Bond Street. Sorry, no, this is Oxford Street, I should say, which would, in almost any time of the year, any time of day, and certainly in the summer, would be absolutely teeming with people. And as you can see, well, normally you'd be dodging left and right to try and get through the crowds of people. Not today. It's really quite quiet, but we have seen some queues outside of Zara, for example. Certainly there's a lot more activity in the shops here than we're seeing in Bond Street, in the real luxury end of the market. So we're just pulling up across the road here and go over to Selfridges. If there's going to be crowds and queues anywhere, this has been where I would expect them to be. But as you can see, the velvet ropes are out, the crowd control is there, but I'm going to be able to walk straight in here, which is good. We'll go and have a look at the watches. You can certainly say Selfridges is the most normal experience because there's no need for face masks inside. There's a fair number of people strolling around. There's some staff wearing face masks, the majority are not. And here we are in the famous Wonder Room, which would ordinarily be hoping for an absolute bumper summer of business with incoming tourists. But it's going to be a domestic market this year, and we better hope that Bucherer can do something to stimulate and excite people into central London. I'm sure they will. I mean, this really is a fantastic place to come and look at watches. There's just so much choice. I'm looking at IWC, Carl F. Bucherer, Tag Heuer, Longines. I know there's Panerai, a Cartier boutique, a Rolex boutique, Van Cleef & Arpels boutique. So if you want the widest range, you're going to find it here. So the universal truth is, if you want to find customers trying to find watches, just head to Rolex. There's a customer sat there doing a consultation, 2 customers consultation, and a little queue outside. Well, I'd say if you want to taste of life as normal as it can be after the pandemic, get yourself down to Selfridges. Yes, it's a hell of a lot quieter than it usually would be, but everything's happening. Everybody's wandering around. I'd probably say a quarter of the people have face masks on. I think you could probably even get on the makeup floor and get your lippy touched up here and your hair done. It's this is a taste of life after lockdown. So we're now on South Moulton Street, and this is where Oris has its boutique, and it's open. We'll have a look inside. I think this store opened in 2018, maybe 2019, very, very recently. And yeah, it's looking great in here. And I happen to know, because I've just been in here a moment before, that they've got a limited edition watch, which I wrote about 3 hours ago. It was embargoed until 1 o'clock today. And here it is, the first of the Holstein limited editions that are sort of celebrating Oris's village, where they grew up in Switzerland. So launched at lunchtime, and I could actually buy it right now. Okay, final stop in the West End before we head on down to Knightsbridge is the old historic Burlington Arcade, which is a bit of a mecca for vintage watch lovers, but also home to a couple of key brands as well. Hi. It's open in a sort of one-way sense. There's some plants down the middle to enforce some sort of one-way street system. It's like looks like most of the shops are open. Vintage jewellery shop Richard Ogden is open. Bell & Ross store. It's got people, it's got staff. I mean, you can certainly see that things need to pick up pretty much all over London, and I include Selfridges and 155 in that, because the numbers of people visiting these incredibly expensive stores at the moment is not going to sustain them. So we do need people to realise and believe that it's safe to get out and about. It's fun to get out and about. You actually feel a lot better after you've been and seen people and seen that life hasn't ended. I'm just stopping off here at David Duggan, the famous pre-owned watch store, and he's got a sign on the door saying that they're quite cautious about the spread of the virus, taking a decision to close with no reopening dates at the moment. David Duggan is mostly vintage watches, but he's also an authorised dealer for Tudor and Urban Jurgensen. And I think the last shop I'm looking for down here I fear I might have walked straight past it. The Grand Seiko store, which I think was a pop-up, must have popped off. Okay, so far I think pretty much the only customers we've seen have been for Rolex, and that's included Selfridges, Watches Switzerland's Rolex store on Bond Street, and Watches Switzerland 155 Regent Street. There's been Rolex customers everywhere. But here we are in the biggest Rolex store in Europe. This is run by Buchra in the ultra wealthy neighbourhood of Knightsbridge. Let's have a little look what they've got. First thing that always strikes you is that they have completely different watches on sale. Everything in this window is for ladies, as far as I'm aware, and pretty much everything is jewel encrusted. And I mean, there's a lady's date just there with a rainbow, well, not really a rainbow bezel, but a red and gold gem set bezel. It's selling for £84,000. carry along. There's one similar, but this one's got diamonds around the bracelet as well. That takes it up to £110,000. I think that'll probably be the most expensive watch we see, but yeah. Whoever the customers buying around here are, they certainly like a bit of a diamond embellishment. Here's the mighty Harrods, starting the Cartier room. It's got a few people, mostly customers, but I'll go through to the fine jewellery room. Very open but quiet. Beautiful jewellery room.
This place is completely
sad. Just been told to stop filming. So it's one of the more unusual decisions to put a massive Tiffany coloured model of the Empire State Building slap bang in the middle of the fine watch room of Harrods. It does look rather out of keeping. But other than that, I've just been speaking to the guys in Rolex. They said I've had a pretty busy morning. People stuck in London still wanting to buy their watches, so I'm not too worried about it. So we couldn't really film too much inside Harrods. I'll probably have to edit that out, but I can tell you, I mean, Harrods is a bit like Selfridges. Definitely people there to shop. Very little evidence of strict social distancing. There were one-way systems, there were some queuing systems within some of the shopping shops. When it came to the fine watch room, it was very empty. Even Rolex was very quiet, but the store staff there said they had a rush this morning with people shopping, but they don't have appointments at their Rolex store, so they're kind of relying on walk-ups because people don't tend to put down deposits for watches with Harrods as much as they would do at regular authorised dealers. So a slowish start, but I think the main conclusion I would bring from this little quick spin around London's West End and wealthier shopping spots is that this is a really safe time to get out shopping again. The shops need you, the watch brands need you, you need your watches, so get out, have some fun with it, enjoy your passion, and I'm as certain as I possibly can be that you're all going to be safe, because the shops are extremely well organised.